Hey guys, it feels like somewhat of a quick turnaround. We got delayed getting out of Wisconsin the other night, with the weather. So we really didn't get back till late last night, around 7:30, actually. So it seemed like a bit of a whirlwind. We had a crazy couple of days. Monday we had a big snowstorm. I woke up, I had a flat tire, had to shovel myself out, get to work, practice, and people haven't known this, but my teeth have been really bothering me. I had an emergency root canal Monday prior to getting on our flight. And then in the second half against Wisconsin, Greg Gard gave me another root canal. In that second half, guarded the heck out of us. So it was a quick turnaround, trying to get ready for a really good Maryland team, kind of different than kind of what we've been facing in regards that they're not, they don't play through the low post, don't play through a big 7-footer down low. They kind of spread you out and shoot a lot of threes. Similar to ourselves, they can break you down off the dribble. They can shoot. So it's going to be a tough game. Obviously we have to execute better and we have to defend better than we did in the second half. And again, we can't allow, if we're not making shots, we can't allow that to affect our defense. So we're going to be getting to practice very shortly here to get prepared for Maryland.
Thanks, Coach. Corey, let's go ahead and start with you with your first question. Justin, you're on deck.
Hey, Jim, it's a very general question about bracketology, not necessarily where you guys stand or anything, but just coaches in general. Do college coaches pay much attention to all the bracketology stuff at low major, mid major, high major? Do people talk about it? Is it something that is in coaches' minds?
Not right now. I think it's actually too far away. I mean, everybody feels like it's close, but it's too far away. So much stuff can happen within 10 games, especially this year with COVID and programs getting shut down. And, never really paid much attention to it in my career. When I was at LIU, you had to win the last game. I was always focused on at that level, trying to be the top 3 seed in your tournament so you can match up and get good matchups to win. At Duquesne, it was about having a great non-league schedule and winning some big non-league games to help us get multiple teams into the NCAA tournament. In the Big Ten, I mean, we're going to get 10 teams. We deserve 10, if not 11 teams in the tournament this year. So it's about just focusing on getting better. We're not paying attention. I'd never look at it, to be honest. I don't pay one iota. It's about us getting better. And like I've always said, at the end of the year, you're going to look at your resume and you're going to see, who's got wins, who's got good wins, and who you're playing in the Big Ten tournament. So we don't really focus on that here.
Justin Morgenstein, let's come to you next. And then Ben Jones, you're on deck.
Hey, Jim, I'd ask how you're doing, but sounds like it's been a pretty rough week.
It's getting better now.
Maryland is, in a similar spot with you guys right now, just being, on that tournament bubble. What is it like being a team on that bubble and facing, a team just as desperate, just as hungry at this time of year?
It doesn't matter. It's about who plays well on that night. Really, guys, the bubble that's for fans and media, really, and enjoy it. You should enjoy it. I mean, my children enjoy it. My friends, they love it. That's what's great about college basketball. But for the teams that are playing, I don't think Mark's paying attention to it at all. I know we're not. It's about the next game on our schedule, and it's the Big Ten, so it's a monster of a game, and we just got to hope and focus on playing well, preparation and playing well. And whoever plays well that night's going to win the game.
Thanks, Coach. Ben, let's come to you for your next question, and then Corey, you're on deck.
Oh, I have the power to just unmute myself. That's fantastic.
Hey, Ben.
Hey, I'm curious, what are the challenges right now from a recruiting front, both from the practical sense that none of you know what's going to happen in the next month, with the same time, if you were to get the job, you would want to be in a position where you felt good about the guys that you were in contact with. How do you kind of balance everything that's on your plate in that regard?
Well, we're recruiting. You have to keep recruiting. Obviously, it's a difficult time. Everything's done via Zoom and phone calls. But we're recruiting. We're moving the program forward. Okay, and that's my job is. So we're going to constantly recruit. Yes, it's hard. The kids on the other side are like, well, we really like you, but we don't know if you're going to be there. So, we're going to wait to see what happens. And that's just life. It is what it is. So we've put ourselves involved with some kids. We have some kids that would want to come if I'm the coach, but that's something that families have to make a decision on. We can't make that decision for them. And then I think this year, I think I spoke on this before, the whole recruiting platform has changed, because of the free year, because of kids being able to transfer and not have to sit out. We're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. We just got to make sure we take, like everything every year, that we take the right guys that fit our program and fit who we are.
Thanks, Coach. Corey, let's come back to you. Justin Morgenstein, your next question will follow Corey.
Jim, you've talked many times about how tough the Big Ten is. These teams just eat each other up night in and night out. How do you, when you talk about getting 10 or 11 teams from the Big Ten into the tournament, but they all just beat each other up, how do you weigh that, balance that dynamic of these might be good teams, but they all just beat each other up for a couple of months?
It's hard. That's what makes this league really, really hard. And, when you're in the Big Ten, it's so important to all of us too. Like you want to compete in the Big Ten, you want to win the Big Ten. And then you're getting into the NCAA tournament and you're trying to win a national championship. But no other teams in the country are more prepared for the NCAA tournament than the Big Ten, because the different styles of play in our league, the size of our league, the way teams play, it prepares you. So, there's some talk that we wear each other out, but it is what it is. That's what this league is. It's not like we're gonna, not play games to rest up. So it's challenging. It's really challenging, but that's why it is, the best conference in college basketball.
Thanks, Coach. Justin, let's come over to you. And then Ben Jones, you're back on deck.
Jim, we've seen some terrific performances from Seth at times this year, but, he also has those nights where offensively, he seems to get just a little lost in the mix maybe, or, just not the one really getting the ball. How is his, confidence right now, and how much would a consistent Seth Lundy mean for you guys?
I think his confidence is good. I think his confidence is pretty high. And, what everybody's got to remember is there's another 5 guys on the other side of the court that are guarding us, so it's, you try to get him shots, you try to get him in situations, and then he's got to make plays out of that, and then guys playing off it. And again, with the way we are as a team, it's about being unselfish and having the ball find the shot. So I think Seth not forcing shots and playing off it has helped our team. And then, guys, again, he's a young sophomore. Like he's a young sophomore. He didn't start a ton of games last year, didn't play a ton of minutes last year. So he's taken on a bigger role, and with that, comes some bumps and bruises, and he's ups and downs. And, I think that's part of being a sophomore. But, fortunately, I think, we're not a team that is just totally based on one guy, right? I mean, we scored 81 points against Wisconsin and beat them. And I think Seth had 1 basket. You know what I mean? So we're a team that's been able to win when it doesn't just have to be Seth. As we keep working, and he's working hard. And the big thing that we talk about all the time is that, again, having an impact on the game if his shot's not going in. And he's doing that. When he does that, he helps us.
Ben Jones, let's come back to you for your question, and then we'll go back to Corey.
Last year, we were talking about Seth. He kind of got worked into that rotation as the year went along, and worked into the role that he has now. You obviously have a lot of depth. There's not really a need to go to these freshmen. I'm just sort of curious, how are they progressing along from the standpoint of everyone, knock on wood, broke their leg tomorrow and they had to play? Where would they be in that process? Well,
obviously they'll be a little rusty. They haven't played a lot, but they've been working really hard. The pause really set them back a little bit. We were a little bit older this year, so not having to rely on the freshmen. But it's not like we just put them to the side. Like, they're working hard every day. They're getting better. Some of these guys can be really good. I'll be honest. I think the ability that they get the year back for them, it's great. It's like these guys got a redshirt freshman year, because I think they all have the potential to be really good basketball players. So we are ready to throw them in if need be, and they've earned that right.
Corey, let's come back to you for a question, and then if there are no other questions, we can end the session.
Just curious, when you went back and watched the second half against Wisconsin, certainly they were playing good defense. And I know you want to give the other team credit. I went back and watched it. You guys had a ton of wide open shots. When you went back and watched it, what did you see? Did you see a lot of opportunities for your shooters?
Yeah, we did. I kind of compared it to the first game.
Right. When Wisconsin had a lot of open shots.
We made those shots in the first game, and we got it going. The little thing some of the little things I saw, like our spacing wasn't as good. Our execution was good, but it needed to be better. So little things like that I might see where maybe you might not see it, that have to be when you're playing. They're a superior defensive team. They're one of the tops in the country every year. And now you're playing on the road. It needed to be better. Our execution needed to be a little bit better. Yes, I thought we had some good shots. I thought if we would have made one more extra pass, we might have had a great shot. But with that said, especially to start, they went on that 19-4 run, and we had really good looks. It shouldn't have been 19-4. Okay, defensively we broke down a little bit, but if we normally make the shots that we have, it's a significantly different game. And then the thing I was a little disappointed in, and we spoke about it and we addressed it, is I also felt like, we missed all those shots in a row, and I kind of felt like we allowed our offense to affect our defense, and we can't do that. We can't do that. Actually, when we're missing shots like that, our defense needs to pick us up and carry us, and it didn't do that. So that's something that we need to make sure never happens again.
Ben, let's come back to you, and then Justin, you've got the final question for this session.
When you look at MJ, his ability to make shots that don't seem like a shot that a person should be able to make, and then score, maybe 12, the spurt ability of just scoring maybe like 12 points in 30 seconds, it feels like. How do you manage a guy that can score like that, but maybe not for 40 minutes? I mean, how do you kind of find that moment for him to do the thing that he does?
Well, again, I think a lot of, MJ is such a good person. He's such an unselfish kid. MJ, you never see his emotion never changes, man. He's just, he's kind of letting the game come to himself, and he just kind of plays, and he plays off it. And I think that's part of who we are as a team, that we do share the ball. And again, we do put MJ in situations. We try to get him comfortable in certain spots, but then we allow him to make plays. When you have a guy that can do that, he's also an exceptional passer. So his feel for the game is really good. So it's part of the way we play. MJ's Zay's that aggressive downhill kind of guy that's going to attack it. And MJ's more of the, kind of laid back and just kind of feel what's going on. So, when MJ's got it going, though, we want to make sure he touches the basketball, and we do that, and then we allow him to make those decisions. And he's one of those guys, like, I've done, there's been several times this year, I'm like, damn, I just don't think MJ's really playing that well. And then I bring in at halftime, I get the stat sheet, and he's got like 10 points. He's missed like 2 shots, and it's like, well, wrong again, like he is, so it's, it's nice to have him. I tell you what, I'd rather have him on my team than someone else's team. And hopefully he can keep it going. He had this spurt. He was doing this last year too, before he had gotten sick. So hopefully we can keep him going and keep getting better from here.
Justin, let's come to you for the last question of this session.
Something I feel like that I've just been curious about, not just in college sports, but professional sports. Is there a home advantage right now? Do you feel like, is there like a different process for you guys when you're at home versus when you're on the road?
Yeah, it's definitely a home court advantage. It is definitely different though. Okay. Like it's, it's not the same going into Purdue where the place is packed, or Wisconsin or wherever so it's different. But the advantage of sleeping in your own bed and keeping to your routine, I think that sometimes people don't understand how important that really is. And then for an example, like the road this year has been very different than any other time, because each state has different laws and rules. So like at Wisconsin, we could never be together as a team. So you came down, you got your food, you had to go up to your room to eat it. You could only do film together, only 10 people at a time. Well, that's not how we do things. So you got to be flexible. So we couldn't watch film together. We couldn't have team meetings together. You couldn't eat together. Now I think we're going to Michigan, which is going to be pretty similar, but we've gone to other places where you were able to do it. You just weren't allowed to eat together. So the testing has played a toll too, guys. I mean, it's Groundhog Day every day. You get back late at night and you still got to get up early in the morning and test. You have a 7 o'clock game, but you got to test. You're testing in the morning. Like there's different, your bus is coming over to test and then you're getting back on the bus and going back to the hotel. So it is a little bit different, but these are the sacrifices that we've all made to play the game. And, maybe I rambled a little bit about your question, but I still think there's a home advantage just because, the comfort of being home and being able to stay within your routine.